From the 1600s to the 1800s, the Philippines was under the firm grip of Spanish rule. Across more than 7,000 islands, a new world was taking shape, a world where faith, power, and survival intertwined in everyday life. Let's journey back in time and explore what life was really like for Filipinos during these two transformative centuries. During this era, the country was governed as a colony of Spain through the Captaincy General of the Philippines. The Governor-General in Manila represented the king, while local leaders, the Principalia, collected taxes and maintained order in their towns. But for ordinary Filipinos, then called Indios, there was little political power. They lived under strict systems of tribute and labor, ruled by both Spanish officials and powerful Catholic friars. For the vast majority of the population, life was tied to the land. They were farmers, planting rice, coconut, sugarcane, and abaca, crops that fed both their families and the colonial economy. But life was a constant struggle. Every year, men were forced into what was called polo ay servicio, weeks, sometimes months, of unpaid labor for public works like building roads, churches, or the massive galleon ships. The Spanish called it a duty to the crown. For Filipinos, it was a heavy burden, a test of pure survival. At sea, the famous Manila-Acapulco galleon connected the islands to the wider world. For 250 years, these magnificent ships sailed across the Pacific, carrying silver from Mexico to Manila, where it was exchanged for Chinese silk, spices, and porcelain. It was one of the earliest and longest-running examples of global trade. But this immense wealth flowed into the hands of only a few elites, while the rest of the population continued to toil in the fields, largely disconnected from the riches their islands helped create. Religion was at the very heart of Filipino life. Missionaries from orders like the Augustinians, Franciscans, Dominicans, and Jesuits spread Catholicism to nearly every corner of the islands. Churches, built with local labor, became the center of towns. They were not just places of worship, but also hubs for education, administration, and social life. But beneath the surface of this new Christian faith, old beliefs and ancient rituals lived on. The people masterfully blended these traditions with Catholic practices, creating a unique and deeply personal Filipino spirituality that still resonates today. Despite the hardships of colonial rule, life wasn't just about labor and tribute. It had a rhythm of community and celebration. Families and entire towns would gather for fiestas, honoring their patron saint with vibrant music, abundant food, and lively dances. The Bayanihan spirit, that incredible tradition of neighbors helping each other, whether building a house or harvesting crops, was the true heartbeat of community life. It was in these moments of togetherness that Filipino culture thrived, but not everyone accepted colonial rule quietly. From the northern mountains of Luzon to the southern islands of the Visayas, Filipinos rose in defiance. The Tambla Revolt in Bohol sought to restore old faiths. The Malong Revolt in Pangasinan and the legendary Silang Rebellion in Ilocos, led by Diego and Gabriela Silang, fought for regional independence. And in Bohol, Francisco Dagohoy led the longest rebellion in Philippine history, a fight for freedom that lasted an astonishing 85 years. These uprisings, though often suppressed, sent a clear message. Even under centuries of domination, the spirit of resistance and the desire for freedom never died. By the late 1700s, Filipino society was changing. New social classes were emerging. Spanish and Chinese mestizos, descendants of mixed parentage, grew wealthy through land ownership and trade. At the same time, a local educated class, known as the Ilustrados, began to form, absorbing ideas of liberty and progress from Europe. The seeds of a Filipino national identity, a shared consciousness of being one people, were quietly taking root, setting the stage for the revolutionary movements to come. From faith and family to labor and rebellion, the centuries from 1600 to 1800 were a crucible that forged the Filipino people. The Philippines may have been a colony on a map, but in every town plaza, every colorful fiesta, and every brave act of defiance, Filipinos were already writing their own story, a legacy of faith, struggle, and an unbreakable identity. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the past interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories from history. See you in the next video.